Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Rent Prep for Landlords. This is episode number 234. And if you're listening on the day it published, that would be Thanksgiving 2018. Yep, November 22nd, Thursday. And I know right now, as I'm recording this, in a couple of days, I'm going to be eating a lot of turkey and then trying to remember what that word is that starts with T. I think it's tryptophan or something like that. I don't know. I'll be dozing off. But before you guys doze off, let's run some of that sweet intro music and then get to talking about our topic for today's podcast.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Welcome to the Rent Prep for Landlords podcast. And now your hosts, Stephen White and Eric Worrell.
So it is just me today, Eric Worrell. Steve is busy working on the business. We're busy. We are thankful for that. We're thankful for our podcast listeners, our Facebook group members, our clients, everyone who keeps us busy here at Rent Prep running background checks so you get the best tenants in your rental properties. So what I wanted to talk about today is gratitude and being thankful. And I thought that this would actually be a good subject for me to talk about right now, just because in a little bit of a funky mood, to be honest. Nobody slept particularly well in the Worrell household last night. Baby was cooing, making noises early. I woke up at 2, didn't fall back asleep until 5. I'm feeling kind of tired, And it was just kind of the start of the day, but I was excited for today. And as I'm recording, this is November 20th. And I spent the last probably 3 weeks reading up on this book. Really great book if you guys haven't heard of it. It's called Raising Private Capital by Matt Faircloth. He published it through BiggerPockets. I got connected with Matt through BiggerPockets and was excited because I was having a live interview with him on our Facebook page. And when we do these live interviews, I use this service called BeLive.tv. And it's usually pretty good, but sometimes it can just be a little glitchy. And took all the time to read this book, prepare questions, send out the newsletters, make sure that people were engaged, try to, reach as many people as we can with it so we can put on a good interview for you guys. And, right off the bat, as soon as I click the button to go live, this service starts glitching on me a little bit. I just see my entire face just turn into this pixelated image. I lost all the crispness in my video. Then I'm hearing myself as I'm talking. So I don't know if that audio is mixed up or what's going on. And then about 26 minutes into the interview, it's going okay. I just wish the video and audio sounded a little bit better. I'm not sure why I was off. All of a sudden, the screen goes blank for my guest, Matt, and I can't see him at all. And I'm sitting there just like on a live broadcast trying to, make things smooth and work through it, wondering what's going on, just feeling kind of like a dope because you're, caught with your pants down on a live broadcast, just kind of being like, hey, all right, well, we'll see if Matt comes back. It turns out he was never gone. He was there like saying, hey, I'm here. And like people could watch it. Not a big deal, but it's just one of those bummers, you spend 3 weeks putting this together. You put a lot of work into it, making sure you're reading up on everything and coming up with thoughtful questions, and the technology just glitches out on you. And when I got off of that call, I was pretty bummed, but started to think a little bit about what we're going to talk about on the podcast today. And I said, you know what? It would be a good topic, talking about gratitude and being thankful, because that's what, Thanksgiving's all about. And wanted to talk about a couple strategies after doing a little bit of research. And to be honest, a lot of this just comes from my wife who works in psychology. But having gratitude is probably one of the quickest ways to change your perception and your mood. It's not about necessarily like what people are doing to you. It's about your perception of what's happening. The world happens regardless of what's going on, but there's somehow like one person can go through a horrible situation right next to another person, and one person comes out of that situation okay, and the other person is scarred by it, and they're thinking, woe is me for the rest of their life. And I wanted to give you a couple resources if maybe that's something you're struggling with, or, you got that self-doubt or a lot of negative internal dialogue, lately. Maybe you got some rental projects that aren't going like you had hoped, or some tenants that aren't working out, or who knows, there's a million and one reasons why you can kind of get down sometimes. And probably one of the best books that I have ever read on this, and I wish I had it in front of me right here because I can't remember the author's name off the top of my head, but it's called Man's Search for Meaning. I just remembered his name, actually. It's Viktor Frankl. So if you haven't read this one yet, I highly suggest it. It's only like 120 pages or something like that. It's not a really long book. But this book is about this guy who went through the Holocaust and came out on the other side, just suffering an incredible amount of loss, whether that was, family members or his own travesties and just horrible memories. But he kind of just created his own system, his own kind of form of psychology to get through these tough times, to the point that the guards, right, the Nazi German guards were impressed with him. They wanted to know how he was able to withstand the amount of pain that he was going through. So that book is a great read for anybody. I mean, I read it, and to be honest, by the time I finished it, my eyes had welled up many times during the book. And you think, wow, you think that you've got problems. Like, imagine going through this and having this guy's outlook on the other end. So the main takeaway of that book for me is about purpose, right? It's about having some sort of purpose that drives your life. What is that thing that's going to pull you through those tough times? And especially in American culture, American society, I think a lot of times we can kind of get wrapped up in the purpose being, money, or maybe it's power, or it's some sort of accolade or something that of that nature. But in this book, it kind of breaks it down to what true purpose is. And if you're feeling that little bit of, what am I doing? Like, I got these rental properties, things are going well, but it just doesn't feel right. Maybe there's more to life than this. I would highly suggest checking out that book. So one of the other things you can do too, if you want to express more gratitude, feel more thankful in your life. And I know my wife has, she's recommended this to me in the past, and it's pretty simple, but start keeping a gratitude journal. Now, the idea of keeping a journal seems weird to you for whatever reason. There's plenty of apps that you can search in the marketplace to, if you search gratitude journal. But it's a daily habit of writing down what you're thankful for. So what it does is it just forces you to kind of reframe some of your thoughts, even if it's just for a few minutes as you're sitting down and you're putting pen to paper, or you're writing it out on the app. You're letting your brain know, you're letting yourself know that there's things that you're thankful for. And the more specific you can be, the more thoughtful you can be in this exercise, the easier it is to kind of start shifting your mood. Because one of the quickest ways to change your mood is to either take the time to express what you're grateful for, or do something nice for somebody else. It's really not complicated, right? If we get into these, and I think it happens to all of us, you get in those funks. I was in a funk earlier today. I'm like, I'm tired. All that time, getting ready for this interview, and the technology glitches out, and I start getting those thoughts of like, oh, the world's conspiring against me. No, it's not. Like, an interview glitched out for, a little bit and you had to end it early. Not a big deal, right? So I think, I should probably take my own medicine on that as far as a gratitude journal. What I used to do actually was a gratitude text. So I would text my wife every day and I'd let her know something that I was thankful for, whether it be her or a situation, our family, work, just something really simple that maybe happened on my commute or whatever it may be. But having a gratitude journal is a super, super easy way to just be more thankful. So another one that you can do too is sending out a thank you note, a thank you card, right? I find that in today's world, it's much easier to stand out to people by taking that little bit of extra effort of just sending them something in the mail, because everything is so easy to text, write an email, Facebook message, whatever. But if you take that time to write a thank you card, and, maybe it's to somebody that's, had a positive impact in your life, you could sit down. It'll probably take you 15 minutes and you could write out 10 thank you cards, maybe a little bit, longer in time if you're being real thoughtful about it. But, somebody's just going to get a card in the mail and be like, wow, like that's pretty great. So it's just such a simple thing that you can do, but it's going to brighten up somebody else's day. And I think that this time of the year, sometimes we can kind of focus on things such as, food is probably the first thing a lot of people think of when it comes to Thanksgiving. Family, travel. Oh gosh, me and my wife were just talking about this the other day. We're going to be going back and forth between the parents' houses, and the baby's, only 1 year old. Is he going to do all right on naps? And is this going to happen? Like, what about that? And you start thinking about all the negatives, as opposed to the fact that, you know what? You got 4 days off. You got time to spend with family. You got good food, good, conversations. You can really enjoy this time. You can really be present with it and just have just a great experience, because it might be a morbid thought to think, but I can't remember what book I read this in, but it was talking about the fact, I think it was Jordan Peterson. He's a psychologist out of Toronto, and he wrote a really popular book. I think it was called The 10 Rules to Live By, something along those lines. And he had said that his family was clear across the other side of Canada. And what he realized is, he's like, I see my parents twice a year. And he's like, they are 60 years old. Average life expectancy is about 80. That means that I've got about 40 times left in my life that I'm going to see my parents. So he's like, I kind of reframed the way that I thought about visiting my family, visiting my parents, and I would try to stay as long as I could. I'd try to, be as present as possible and enjoy that time as much as possible. Because when you're visiting, it's like, when you think about it that way, and especially if you're somebody who's, does a decent amount of travel to go see family, and you don't get to see your family as often as you'd like, it can be kind of morbid to think of it in that way. But it's like, you might be on, your last 50 visits with that family member. You never know. So, taking a moment to just think about those things, and even though it is, a really morbid way of thinking of it, it kind of makes it more precious and more special to take that time and think about, what really matters. Taking a step back, getting your head out of the fog, the day-to-day, all those things that just kind of, create this just fog around us of like thinking that that matters when it doesn't, or that person did that when I was driving and how could they do that, or oh my gosh, I'm so tired, or whatever those like things that pop up every single day. It's like, take a moment, hit the reset button, enjoy life, enjoy all the opportunities afforded to you. I mean, if you're a landlord and you've got one rental property, I mean, just think about that. You have a property that somebody else pays you money to live in. Like, there's so many people who don't have two nickels to rub together, and you're providing housing for other people, including yourself, hopefully. So it's a cool thing that you're doing. You're impacting the communities that you live in. You get an opportunity to make a great living arrangement for somebody, a situation that works for them. So be thankful for that. Be thankful for that dynamic. I know it's sometimes a thankless job, and at times it can feel like it's not worth all the frustration and headaches, but you got a good thing going. You got a good thing going, and hopefully you're going to enjoy your Thanksgiving. I know that I am, and I'd like to finish this podcast off just by saying that I'm thankful for you guys for listening. We really appreciate the feedback we get, seeing you guys in the Rent Prep for Landlords Facebook group, and we just really appreciate all the support and following that we've kind of accumulated over the years, and we just truly appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful and happy Thanksgiving.